Did you have opportunities to be a head coach, and if so, what made you decide to step?
I think there's always going to be rumblings and stuff that's out there. Honestly, I think I always go back to the fact that this is a people business. This is it's about families. It's not just about just coaches and getting their name recognition out there. Honestly, my family is extremely happy to be in South Bend area and to live there and I think it's the kind of place that I think our family would love to be at, hopefully for a while. It's been a wild last couple, really last 11 years. I think my wife will tell me she basically 7 moves or something along those lines, and it's not always been by choice. A lot of the decisions were kind of no-brainers, and right now, what better place to be a part of than Notre Dame football and to continue to learn from right now the active win leader in all of college football. That's pretty neat to be around Coach Kelly, the guy who has the most wins in all of college football.
As a quarterbacks coach, when Malik goes down, what goes through your mind?
Not gonna lie, everybody's got a plan until you get hit in the mouth, and as a coaching staff, as a team, we got hit in the mouth a little bit right there, and we were staggering a little bit in that Virginia game, but I think you got to see the intestinal fortitude of Deshaun Kaiser early on, really without a whole lot of confidence at that point in time in his physical abilities, in playing in meaningful snaps. But you saw that grit that he has, and it came up throughout the course of the year. And that's if there's one trait about Deshaun Kaiser, it's his toughness. Incredible toughness, and thrives in those moments where the game's on the line and our backs are against the wall. Now, on the flip side of that, we're going to try to do a better job of not having our backs against the wall and the game on the line all the time. We need to learn to push the pedal to the metal for all 60 minutes of the game and not be in those situations where we need heroics. We'd love to avoid that.
How impressive has Malik been in terms of his attitude now that he's trying to get back in it and everything?
Every day is just being around Malik is just it's honestly a blessing to be around him and the character he has. Yesterday at practice, he clearly knows he's not going to play in this bowl game. He's out there as fired up as I've seen him, both when he was competing to be the starter, when he was named the starter, when we're getting ready to play Texas, after Texas. This is the most fired up I've ever seen him to be a part of Team 127 and competing against his home state, Ohio State Buckeyes. He's out there, firing guys up, yelling, running around. It was honestly picked everybody up. Everybody just flown in from all different parts of the country, and we're out there practicing, getting after it pretty good. And just Malik's vocal leadership in that situation really picked up the whole team.
You guys will have a heck of a scenario come spring and August with those two, won't you?
It'll be outstanding. And you know what? Honestly, the room is in such a good position in terms of those guys care for each other. They have a legitimate love for one another, and not just Malik and Deshaun, but Brandon Wimbush, Montgomery Van Gorder, Robbie Regan, Nolan Henry, and adding another high school quarterback to the fold here in 2016. So already you can see the inner workings of guys that truly care about each other, and most importantly care about this team. But it's going to be competitive, and we look forward to that. And it already is. That's what we want. We want a situation where, each and every day, you have to acquit yourself to be the leader of this football team and this offense. And that's what we look for out of that position on a daily basis, regardless if there's a quote unquote quarterback competition or not.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep. Good. How you doing? Good.
In particular, Ohio State had a similar scenario last year where at the beginning of the year, the third quarterback, if you will, ended up finishing the season and played very well. A similar scenario for you all. If you go back to May, Sean was technically the third guy. But what is it about his demeanor that allowed him to, when he got in against Virginia, just go to work and not really faze him very much about playing the role and executing? Why is that?
His demeanor is one of he's businesslike, workmanlike. Really, he's one of those guys that has his jaw set, ready to work every day. But then he has a playfulness to him, a personality to him that I think is conducive to bringing your team along. So it's not just all business. It's not all just serious. But he's got a sense of humor. He's got a little bit of swagger to him in the way that he conducts himself on a daily basis, and particularly on Saturdays. But I think a lot of that could come from probably his basketball background. He's a guy that was a ball distributor in basketball. I could see him being the leader on the court. And then really looking at a lot of that comes from his dad, being a college basketball player himself. Just an ultimate competitor, somebody who does a great job of the intellectual side of the game, but also sees it as an opportunity to have fun with your teammates and go out there and crack a smile every once in a while as well.
Mike, you probably know him as well as anybody. Every day you meet with him, every day you talk to him, that kind of thing. When this game was announced, did you notice a demeanor change and an excitement? Because obviously there's no way to get around where he's from and what his opponent would mean. Did you notice that?
Yeah, the quarterback room was pretty excited, to say the least, about the opportunity to play against the mighty in-state Ohio State Buckeyes. Which, I mean, obviously when you grow up in the state of Ohio, there's no bigger thing than the Buckeyes. And and I think those guys, they grew up going to their games. They grew up in the recruiting process going to games of theirs. They understand the magnitude of that program. They understand the respect that program has garnered particularly over the last 4 or 5 years with what Coach has done. So they were really excited about the opportunity, but I had to remind them this isn't about the in-state school. This is about a football game, and it's about preparation. And they've done a great job of transitioning back into the mindset of preparing for a great game against a great opponent, and putting forth their best effort.
You have with Ohio State now, you're going to play without their top 2 defensive tackles. They're still going to play with guys in there. But
correct.
There is a change. How would that maybe in any way affect a plan? For example, if Bosa moves inside, that's a different type of player.
Right.
Would that affect the way you all view them now?
No. You guys know, especially you that have followed the Buckeye program. I mean, they have 5-star, 4-star players up and down their roster. So it's not like they're gonna be at a complete disadvantage with the next man in. And honestly, we've been going through that the whole year as well. They have too over the last couple of years. They've found a way to incorporate that next man in philosophy. So we anticipate that the next couple of guys in there will be just as good. But they're going to be fresh. They're going to have an opportunity to show what they're all about. Seen a couple of these guys on tape, and even the guy that's not even, I think he's listed as like the 4th or 5th D tackle, Tracy Sprinkle. He's a heck of a ball player, unbelievable player. So there's guys that you see mix in there. Joel Hale. There's guys that you see that have played a lot of meaningful snaps for the Buckeyes, or are just incredible young talents, and we've had a chance to watch those guys on tape.
With Bosa in particular, there is a chance he might play inside now a little bit more, but he's done that this year, so it's not a big change for him. But just overall, when you watch him play, how do you, as an offensive play caller and scheme creator, if you will, how big a factor is just where he lines up in what you want to do offensively?
Well, I mean, the guy's going to wreck. He's going to wreak havoc no matter where he's at. I mean, that's who he is. And the reason he does that is because he plays with incredible effort and he has incredible athleticism. He's a guy that, with his length, his power, generally you see those guys being a little bit more stiff, and he has zero stiffness in his game. And then you combine that with the fact that he's always straining to get that second, third effort component of the play. That's where he gets those devastating hits on quarterbacks. Whether they show up as statistical sacks or not, those hits on quarterbacks add up. And we understand that the ball's got to get out. We understand that we can't sit there and read the Declaration of Independence back there in the pocket. We got to make quick decisions, and certainly number 97 kind of forces your hand in that area.
Just more generic questions. What do you guys need to do offensively to kind of get a win against the defense?
I just think the balance that we've played with all year, I think that's gonna be incredibly important for us to get get Deshaun in rhythm early. Be really important, especially against the pass rush that we're gonna face. I think getting our running running backs going early, getting both CJ and Josh Adams greased up, ready to go, and having them get into some form of a rhythm and flow. Everything's going to start up front. Every game that we've played in this year, we've won games based on how great the offensive line plays. Those guys just so unselfish. Just play with such great effort, and that's what you look forward to. When you watch the film the day after the game, 2 days after the game, you look forward to watching those battles between Ronnie Stanley and Bosa, and seeing Mike McGlinchey and Bosa, and seeing what Tracy Sprinkle, how he matches up against Quentin Nelson, stuff of that nature that you really look forward to. Games can be won and lost, won or lost in the trenches, and we got to get our quarterback going as well.
You talk about that battle between Bosa and Ronnie Stanley. I mean, this two guys that could go day one in the NFL draft. How do you see that battle going?
I think it's going to be an incredible battle. Those guys are as good of players as there are in college football. The film speaks to it. The measurements speak to it. You tune in on draft day. Both their names are going to be called really early, and I think those are the kind of battles that you look forward to. I think there's some incredible players in this game. On both sides of the ball, both teams that are going to be early picks in the draft, both this year, next year, and the year after. And I think there's the two best defensive players in all of college football. Are playing in this game as well with Jalen Smith and with Bosa. So, they're going to move him around. It won't be just isolated strictly on Ronnie and him. Steve Elmer will get a shot at him. Quentin Nelson will get a shot at him. Mike McGlinchey will get a shot at him. So. He's going to be ready to go, and we're prepping to really do a good job against him.
You were in a much different situation at quarterback in the spring, but talking to your QB just a few minutes ago, he said he felt like he was going to be the starter. He kind of knew he was going to head down that path. Did you sense that?
I did. After the spring game, he was like, he was like 1 of 3 for like -2 yards and a sack and a safety. Didn't have a great performance, if you will, but after the game, he sent me a text message and he said, "Coach, I needed to hit rock bottom because I'm going to do everything in my power to come back, and I'm going to compete to be the starter." And at the time, you're sitting there reading that text message, you're like, not based off what I just saw, but then he that's the thing about it. I mean, I've coached a lot of kids that will send that kind of a text message or say those kinds of words and not back it up with their preparation. And he changed his body completely in the off season. He shed about, I think, a 9% body fat, and his physical preparation was off the charts. His confidence in what he was doing from a throwing standpoint were so much improved, and we really saw that as camp wore on, that this is a guy that we could win games with, and that we would feel very comfortable with the game on the line with this kid playing.
Just talking to him, that is a charismatic guy. It comes across pretty quickly that he's a cerebral kind of guy. Yeah. Is he just the total package? Is he everything you kind of want in a QB? Yeah, I mean,
he's got so many God-given abilities, both personality, physical stature, athleticism. But the key for him is now and always will be his continued development. And he is so humble. And if he does continue to do a good job remembering that, the separation for him's got to be in the way he prepares. And that's if we use that as our calling card, his future is extremely bright, both in this level and hopefully someday in the next.